Good morning. Good morning. I'm so stoked you're here with me. Let's lean in to my state here. I'm going to oil up. Hello, hello. So I feel like I have just been chatting this topic up with so many people lately. I want to talk to you about having a positive self-image. And guys, when you do this, it can change your life. Okay? You might think that self-image is related to really what you see when you look in the mirror. But it goes so much deeper than that. Self-image is how you see yourself, but more on like a global level. But it's how you see yourself internally and externally. But what you see when you look in the mirror, that's not the real you. That's a reflection of your body, right? We are spirits with an intellect living in a physical body. So on all of those levels, you have a self-image. The way you see yourself and the way you portray yourself to others. There's a difference. What you see when you look in the mirror, that's not the real you. And while your physical body and appearance are important, it's the self-image that's in your subconscious. That's the money spot. That's where all the goods are. For this, the self-image, this is what determines your successes, your failures, what's in your bank account, what kind of job you have, all of it. All of it is determined by your self-image. So while the real you, right, the real you locked up in there is perfect and always looking to expand, right? I always talk about we have this energy flowing to and through us, and we are always looking for expansion as humans, okay? And your inner self, when you were first born as this brand new, beautiful baby, perfection, subconscious mind, wide open. And in the first 7-8 years of your life, because your subconscious was wide open, all this stuff just gets dumped into it constantly. So while the real you that's buried underneath all of this stuff is perfect and looking to expand, the self-image in your mind is based on all of those false beliefs and limited beliefs and all that information that was dumped on you by other people. I mean, it's not right or wrong, good or bad. It just is. Everybody's doing the best they can with their current level of awareness, but it sets up boundaries in every area of your life. So now as an adult, if you see yourself as shy or not good enough or not lovable, you are going to act accordingly. And that's just it, right? You will act like it all the time. So even if you promise yourself that you're going to do something different, you won't deviate from that pattern. At least not as long as your self-image is still a reflection of that. Remember when we talked about cybernetics? Remember I was telling you about the book Dr. Maxwell Maltz wrote on psychocybernetics? If you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to it. And we dive into this a little bit deeper, but ultimately what we talk about is how we have a cybernetic mechanism built into us as well, just like an airplane or a thermostat. Like cybernetics, this is the science of control and communication in all animals and machines. Okay, so a cybernetic mechanism, it measures the deviation that you're set on a goal. So as a human, we set a goal and we zone in on it, right? The pilot gets into the airplane and programs the flight pattern, and then the cybernetic mechanism takes over, autopilot takes over, right? I could go to the thermostat on my wall and program it at whatever, 70 degrees. and my kids leave the front door open, and maybe it's a cold Canadian winter day, and the cold air comes in, but the cybernetic mechanism in my thermostat will bring it back to 70 degrees. It'll kick the furnace on and do all the things. That's how it works. Okay, so just like when a plane might go off course in the middle of the flight, the cybernetic mechanism kicks in and puts it back on its flight pattern. We have the same kind of cybernetic mechanism built into us. It's called your self-image. So a really common one, I think that if this isn't you, I'm sure you know somebody that it is. Let's say you have a self-image that you're overweight. And it might not be something that you ever talk about, but inside you feel you've attached emotion to the fact that you're overweight. And one day you get tired of feeling that way and you decide that you're going to do something about it. You say to yourself, that's it, I'm going on a diet. And you start to take action. You get rid of all the crap food in your house. You say Monday or January 1st. It's usually it, right? I'm going on a diet. And you become really strict with what you eat. You cut back on your food portion sizes and you stop eating things that you love because you're telling yourself that those are the things that are doing it for you. Those are the things that are making you overweight. And of course, when you do that, you might start to lose weight. But here's the thing that you want to understand. Here's the kicker. You're not overweight because of the food that you eat. I mean, that's another piece of it. But let's stay on track here. You're overweight because of the image that you're holding of yourself in your subconscious mind. That image then causes you to hold on to the extra pounds. And the same can be said for the opposite, right? If you have a skinny image, you can eat all the foods you want, all the chocolate, all the things. And then whenever you overeat, you'll simply pass it off as extra food. Your body knows it's not needed, it releases it. But here's the point. When an overweight person goes on a diet without altering the self-image, any weight loss will be temporary. And this is why it's like yo-yo dieting. And I talk to people all the time. Oh, what oil do you got? What meal plan do you got? What? And it's just like, there's things that you can do, but let's first look at the self-image. Always. It doesn't matter. You could come to me and say, I want to be a millionaire. I'd say, okay, let's look at your self-image. You could say, I want to live my purpose. I want to switch careers. I'd say, okay, let's look at your self-image. Every time. Okay, you want it to not be temporary. The self-image, your cybernetic mechanism, this is what's measuring the deviation, where you're going, and immediately corrects it and puts it back on course. So if you view yourself as overweight, and you've lost this weight, you're going to find it. By the way, you never want to lose weight. Release it. You will always find what you lose. Here's a little tip for you. But if the person is going to keep the weight off, they have to change their self-image. Ralph Waldo Emerson, he said, of what use to make heroic vows of amendment if the same old lawbreaker is to keep them? Isn't that the truth? Until we change the inside, AKA create a new self-image, we will continue to be stuck in the same old situations. You'll put the weight on, you'll take it off. You'll put it back on, you'll take it off. You'll get in that great relationship, you'll sabotage it, you'll end the relationship, and then you'll do it all over again with the next person. And it'll be a cycle. You'll start earning money, then you stop doing what you were doing, then you go back to earning less money, and you go like this. So if this roller coaster, and it doesn't matter because how you do one thing is how you do all things, right? It just does this. If you're just like, oh, I have that, whether it's with weight or relationships or money or jobs or health or whatever. Okay. But why do we live this way? We live that way because we don't know anything different. And if you look back at patterns that you were taught with, you would see this. And we think it's normal to kind of stay in line and blend in with the crowd. But you have to really think you're the average also of the top 5 people that you associate yourself with. So if you're trying to do something different than them, chances are your self-image aligns with their self-image. And it's kind of sad because really we should be living the way we want to live. But to do that, we have to go and really understand the concept of self-image and cybernetics. And like I said, we've chatted about cybernetics before. Go back and listen to that episode. So let's keep diving a little bit deeper into self-image. And you'll hear it called and talked about a lot of different things. You'll hear terms like self-concept or self-esteem or identity or image. And they're all related since they're stored in your subconscious mind, but they're different, right? And the key thing is, though, that they impact each other. Like self-image has a lot to do with your self-esteem. Like how we see ourselves is a big contributing factor to how we feel about ourselves. Self-esteem just goes a little bit deeper. Self-esteem is the overall sense of respect for ourselves. And it involves really how we feel about ourselves. And that feeling, though, that is what brings something. Let me bring up my little man here. That's what brings something from the conscious to the subconscious mind. So if you have a negative self-image, chances are it's going to negatively influence your self-esteem and vice versa with positive. And identity is also really closely related to this concept, but it's kind of a larger, more comprehensive view of self-image. Identity is our overall idea of who we are. Identity is the whole picture of who we believe we are, who we tell ourselves that we are. And I've given some examples of self-image, but if you're needing some more clarity, I mean, it's pretty, when you think about it, actually think about it, it's pretty easy to distinguish between a positive and a negative self-image. A positive self-image is having a good view of yourself, right? So seeing yourself as an attractive person, having an image of yourself as a smart and intelligent person, seeing a happy and healthy person when you look in the mirror, believing that you are at least somewhat close to the ideal version of yourself, thinking that others perceive you as all of those things too. And then on the other hand, the negative self-image, because everything has an opposite, says the law of polarity. This is seeing yourself as unattractive, undesirable, thinking and looking at yourself in the mirror and thinking that you're stupid or unintelligent, seeing an unhappy, unhealthy person in the mirror, believing that you're nowhere near the ideal version of yourself, thinking that others think of you this way too. But lucky for us, that law of polarity, if you've been saying the latter of the two to yourself, I want you to grab a pen and paper. I want you to do some exercises with me so that you can help create a more positive self-image. And even feel free to do this with your kids, with your teens. This is good for anybody. So I want you to first write down every single thing that you want in life. Everything you want. How you want to feel. I want you to start entertaining something different outside of what you're currently entertaining. I want you to get yourself into a different vibration, and this is going to feel very uncomfortable, and that's okay. Then I want you to list 10 things that you love about yourself. And this can be pretty simple, right? But it can also be very powerful. All you need to do is list 10 things that you love about yourself. And this either comes easily to people, or I've heard it's the hardest exercise they've ever had to do. But that tells you where you are with your self-image. Actively seeking out the positive in yourself. Do this, and it will make it so much easier to see yourself in a positive light. And if you reach 10 and you have more, keep going. Keep writing them down. It's not going to hurt to have anything extra. You never have too much positive self-image traits. Next, I want you to list 10 skills that you have, that you possess. Okay, building a better self-image isn't just about loving ourselves. It's about building ourselves up in all the areas. So grab a pen and paper, make sure you're doing this. Write out 10 skills. And these skills can be anything you're good at. Something as simple as rollerblading or working out, or you're a rock star at Excel. You're really great at making shy people comfortable. You're great in group situations. You're great at training dogs, painting, writing. 10 skills. And again, if you have more than 10, keep going. This is a nice little extra boost for the old self-image. Because remember, again, picture yourself as a little baby. You came into this world, perfection, wide open, and you had a bunch of experiences, or you were told a bunch of things. Most of them were not true. It was your little perception, or it was somebody else's self-image talking at you. Now it's time for you to tap into that. Remember when you were a little kid and you thought you could do anything? Like if I asked my kids right now, what are you going to be when you grow up? They're going to be singers and dancers, and they're going to rescue koalas, and then they're going to travel all over the world and save kittens, and right? Like they have, and they're so yes, like this is what I'm doing. They're so convinced. It's awesome. Go back to that. That was you. And over time, you just got layered in a bunch of garbage. Go back to that. But really look at, like, what are you good at? Next, I want you to list 5 achievements that you have that you are super proud of. Listing things that you're proud of that you've accomplished. And they can be big things, like winning a national competition. They can be smaller things, like acing a test. But the achievement itself doesn't matter as much as the kind of the key point to the exercise is. It's reminding yourself of what you are capable of, and then challenging yourself to rise to the occasion next time you run into that obstacle. You have so many things, so many examples of when you felt successful, when you succeeded. Borrow that belief. Just borrow it. Next, I want you to remind yourself, I want you to write down 3 times in your life where you have overcome adversity. You've overcome something big. This could be anything from something that happened in your personal life, at school. Could be a bias that you experienced. It could be anxiety. But write down the details. It could be a death. Write down the details of these 3 occasions. And use this written record to remind yourself of your strength, your resilience, what you're capable of. And again, if you can think of more than 3, write them down. Awesome. That's what some people say. Oh man, I have way more than 3. I'm like, awesome. Look how resilient you are. You're still here. Capture that jazz. Everything has happened in life for you to get you to this point. You're listening to this right now for a reason. For a reason. And now, 2 more things. I want you to write down 5 people that you have helped. Or 5 people that have helped you. Who's helped you through those moments? We all need, we're humans. We all need each other. We are meant to live interdependently, codependently. But depending on how you look at it, it might mean that you were even more valuable a person than you thought. Okay, for each person, write it out in detail. How did they help you? Brainstorm the things that people might have seen in you. Why they reached out, your kindness, your talent, and add these to your self-image. And then again, the other ones, you just did 5 people who have helped you. Who are 5 people you have helped on the flip side? Because again, everybody's going through something. Everybody. They say they're not, they're lying. Everybody's got something. They're lying to you or they're lying to themselves or both. Think about it. And capture in these moments, what are the things that you really appreciate about life? And this is a big one. Because when you can have gratitude, an attitude of gratitude, this is the magic. Like, gratitude is a great thing to experience often. But this is more than appreciation. I want you to have gratitude. I want you to say why you have gratitude. And even take it a step further. And if it's for a person, let them know. Share your appreciation with them. List 50 things that you appreciate about your life. And again, feel free to keep going more. When you can start building yourself up, but you have to look for it. It's not anybody else's responsibility to build your self-image. It may not be your fault that it's torn down, but it is your responsibility to build it back up. And that's a hard pill to swallow for some people. It is, again, trauma, all the things happen. Absolutely. But what if you looked at that they happened for you? What if you looked at it like they happened for a reason? And now take responsibility for your life and where you want to go, for your cybernetic mechanism, because it's going to control you whether you want it to or not. We have to learn to keep our mind on the higher image. And I realize this might not always be the thing to do, but it is worth its weight in gold for the people that find the strength to do it. When you change how you see yourself in your conscious mind and plant the seed in your subconscious mind, it changes your vibration. And when you change your vibration, that's when all of the conditions and circumstances in your life, they automatically change. You let the law of attraction kick in. Build the image of what you really desire, and then hold it. Discipline yourself. Like, this is your life. You get to make it whatever you want. Whatever circumstance has got a hold on you right now, that's not your forever circumstance. And if you're going, yeah, this sounds really great, but that's not for me, it's for everybody. That's how you hear these like hugely traumatic, just horrific stories where they come out the other side. This is it. They may not have done it consciously. They may have been an unconscious competent in shifting their self-image, but they did it. And there's lots of people that hit it big, that hit the lottery, and then within 5 years, they're poorer than when they started. Mostly because now they have some spending habits. But if you're ready to dive deeper into this, just set up a call. I'm happy to chat with you. This is what I do. I love to guide people through reprogramming their cybernetic mechanism. You need to get everything that you desire, and you can get anything that you desire. So what's it going to look like? What's it going to look like? You get to decide. But it starts with your self-image. Thank you guys so much for chatting self-image with me. Always a pleasure. I want you to do these exercises, and I want you to think abundantly, because it is everything. Everything.